What's up, everybody? It's Joe today with Team Yugi Boom, and I'm bringing you guys my Yang Zing Metalfoes today, which is one of my faves, so let's get right to it. Alright, so guys, the thing with Yang Zings is link format was another kick to this deck because, you know, synchroing a lot and doing a lot of the plays it did and pendulum summoning and all that good stuff, you know, really got hindered. So throughout time, I've been trying to figure out ways, getting ideas from people, getting suggestions, keeping my own text meanwhile. But I just really love this deck, and I really always like to find ways to try to make it decent. Astrograph, Sorcerer, and Ancient Fairy Dragon getting banned recently kind of sucked for this deck for a build that one of my friends had helped me with before this, but this is what I've come up with now. It's decently consistent, but it's not as powerful as a lot of the meta decks, but you can still set up some pretty awesome boards with this. So I'll get into my ratio changes as well. So I got 3 Jiaotu, of course, always. I don't think this will ever change unless for some reason Yang Zings rise to the top and get banned. He's your main tuner. He can pitch any 2 Yang Zing cards to summon 2 Yang Zings from the deck, one with 0 defense, one with 0 attack, and that can be an instant Electromite in this deck. Next is a bunch of 2-ofs. I got the 2 Chiwen, 2 Swanee, and 2 Bian. So in old builds, these 2 were always at 3 for me. This has never been at 3, but he is another tuner, and he recurs on another Yang Zing being destroyed from the graveyard, and then gets banished like Plague Spreader. So this is what I've sat with for now because I can't afford really to let these guys go down to anything less than 2. Then for the last normal effect Yang Zings, I got Tao Ti, Pulao, and Bixie all at 1. Bixie's another card I do want to try to get back to 2 at least, but their different levels just help with like some more of the obscure synchro plays, and also just extra names if you're sitting on Yang Zings just getting beat down. Then I got 2 Zephrynui and 1 Zefroxy. When Danglong was still a thing, I had this at 3 and this more at 2 because I was obviously before Links as well. Now I had to kind of make room for a lot more turbo cards that can help me if I'm constantly getting ashed or whatnot. But you still like to search with this guy, and he's still, these 2 are still the main 2 you want to get with Jiaotu to make an Electromite. For our Metalfoes, I got 3 Gold Driver, 3 Stealin', and I'm only doing 1 Volflame for the extra Metalfoe. Now, I want to add more Metalfoes because my logic is pretty much a Metalfoe and any Yang Zing in your hand is a Jiaotu. Because your Metalfoes will pop it, the Yang Zing, set a Metalfoe, spell a trap, and then the Yang Zing will activate for being destroyed and summon any other Yang Zing from the deck. But this isn't pure Metalfoes, so I just, that's the number I'm sticking with for now. For a little bit of just turbo monsters, we got the 1 Supreme King Dragon because we are running Foolish and Dragon Shrine just because. And he's also a pendulum, so you can use him for Electromite. 1 Destrudo to go along with the Dragon Shrine. And then 1 Plague Spreader because honestly, I just wanted another like recurring tuner. Now, I will be honest, this sucks in hand almost every time, but everything else, like every other situation, it works fine. So for our spells, the only spell that's more than 1 is 2 Yang Zing Path. Now, I understand that the effect is probably not going to go off that much. I mean, more than likely you're going to just try to set up a board and then use this the one time, and then you won't really have Yang Zings in the graveyard. But it's still a Yang Zing name, and I like it at 2 because I have gotten this off more than once in a duel. And on top of that, it's just an extra name for your Jiaotu. To clean off your spells, you got the 1 Metalfoes Fusion because it's just an excellent draw card. I very, very rarely drawn itself with its effect, but that's just Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes. 1 Monster Reborn because Monster Reborn. 1 Painful Decision. This is just to get your Metalfoes, get to a Metalfoe faster, and even though there is a lot of different pendulum search cards and things I could be doing, I used to even run a Odd Eyes Dragon and do a bunch of random things with this deck, but the reason why I like this because I am running a couple of the Metalfoes fusions, and having a Metalfoes cards in the graveyard can actually help me with one of them sometimes. Then one Dark Hole over Raigeki. Raigeki stays in the side with this deck because I actually like to wipe my own monsters sometimes. One Reasoning, because you got a ton of different levels, almost all of them, except for 8 and 10, I believe. 9 only comes from the extra deck, but still. One Foolish Burial, because it's foolish and it's just amazing. It even helps with Chi-Wen sometimes. One Dragon Shrine, and that's it for your little... Pretty much each one of these spells, if they go off, they're going to help very drastically. And then the trap lineup is short and sweet. You got your 2 combination, Metalfoes combination. This is also to set with your Metalfoes scales, and it's also searches more Metalfoes monsters. The 1 Yang Zing creation. This is probably the last card in the deck that I would ever take to 2 to possibly 3, because this card just really, really helps and spams your board. And then the 1 Zephyr Divine Strike and 2 9 Pillars of the Yang Zing. I don't run the strike package. I mean, I do sometimes, like, if I ever were to take this to a tournament, I would definitely side some strikes maybe, because they're a little bit more cut and clean, just pay life points and activate. But these are searchable, and they're just really nice sometimes. Like, I use these a lot on Solemn cards when they're activated on me. So for your extra deck, right now, the link... is a little low. I mean, I could put a Borreload, Firewall, or Saryuja in this deck just to give it a little bit more like, and to give you a link out with a stronger monster, but really the links here are here just to help you still run the old way of Yang Zings, which is make a bunch of Synchros. So it's just 2 Electromite. No need at 3 in this deck, even though it is a Metalfoes deck. Like, he's just really, really amazing for all his effects. And then 1 Mrs. Radiant, because in case the play with Jiaotu is dead, like you drew into the Zefroxy, you can still just get the Zephyr Nui and like a Bion or something and still make an easy link. And then Needle Fiber, when that ever comes out, will definitely help this deck and any Synchro deck. And then the Plague Spreader gets a little bit more play as well. So for our Yang Zing monsters in the extra deck to start off our Synchro lineup, it's just 2 Baxia. Wish I could play this at 3 again too, but there's just no room. But he is definitely one of your main combo makers still. You can still get 2 on the board and go into rank 8 if necessary. It's a little bit harder nowadays, but it's still possible. And then the 1 Chao Feng and the 1 Yazi. Honestly, Chao Feng is very underrated. Like, nobody really like reads his whole effect. Like, he shuts down effects of the attribute of Yang Zing monsters, or I think it's just worm monsters. No, it is Yang Zing monsters that were used for a summon. So if you use multiple attributes, they can activate effects of monsters with that attribute. And then on top of that, when he's destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you could add 1 tuner monster from your deck to your hand. So, you know, it's just a lot better than it seems. And I've actually shut down people in some duels before. And then Yazi, of course, just another popper, can't be targeted, which also helps. Then for your just power hitting synchros, you got your 1 Omega, your 1 Beals, because Beals is very saucy. 1 Trishula, it's fun to make on your opponent's turn. 1 Black Rose, because Black Rose is amazing. And then Herald of Arclight, he's what you typically make if you can't go that hard. This way you have just an extra negate on the field and potentially messing up some graveyard play. And that's it really for your synchros. I kind of like miss the days of running a lot more of the pendulum synchros and stuff. But next is the 1 Mithrilium and the 1 Alkahest. So my issue is I really feel like I should only be running 1 fusion in the extra deck, but they're both good in different ways. Like my issue is, and if anybody can help with this, is this one I believe returns to the hand, but it targets, and this one just takes a monster kind of like a kaiju. So it's like I really can't weigh which one is nicer, and this one also recycles, but this one is just cooler looking. I don't know, but for now I'm running these 2. You can definitely be flexible and knock these out for another synchro or link monster. Either one of these is what I would take out if you're gonna throw like a Saryuja or something in here. And then lastly is your number 38. He's just for when you can get the double Boxio off. Believe it or not, I was able to get this board before. And it was literally, it wasn't necessarily like my combo was kind of like getting benefits off of being destroyed and then I set this up. But you could set this up with like at least one of your trap cards searched. So you could still get a decent board, just not as many negates as you used to back in the day with this deck. But so far, that's the extra deck. I really haven't found room for flexibility. The answers for pretty much each of the Synchro is just to give you makeups for what you lack in your main deck. Like Black Rose is just an extra board wipe. Your Trish is just to mess with the hand. The Beals is just an annoying monster. The Omega is to help you with your Plague Spreader, your Chi Wens that get banished after they use their effect. And then on top of that, also mess with your opponent's hand. And then, as I mentioned before, the Herald is just more negate. So you're definitely welcome to add your own generic Synchros and however you feel to play. I did used to run Crystal Wing in this deck and stuff, but he's just not really necessary. At least in my opinion. He's definitely amazing, so if you want to make space for him, by all means do. But that's it, guys. So please like, subscribe, comment, criticize, whatever you please, and definitely give us some tips, and hopefully we can keep updating this deck as time goes on, and maybe one day we'll get a Yang Zing link and not just a Zephyr link. So thanks, guys, for watching.